we're thrilled to have here on the Rich Eisen show. And when we had him on before, let him know, man, do I love that Area 51 the Area 21, pardon me, that he hosts. KG's Area 21, the man himself, Kevin Garnett from Turner Sports, back here on the show. How are you doing, KG?
I'm good, man. Rich, how you doing, man?
I'm better for talking to you.
Oh, man, thanks for having me on, man. Huge fan.
Thank you. Right back at you. Do you have a football team that you're a fan of? Are you a Vikings guy?
I'm a Patriots guy. I root for the Vikings and the Patriots. I am a Randy Moss, Ray Lewis. I'm a players guy. You know, I appreciate players. I grew up a Cowboys fan, Danny White, Tony Dorsett, but at the end of the day, I'm a players guy. I hate saying that. I hate how that sounds.
So you became a Patriot guy in your Boston days, or did you like them before you got to see them up close and personal? Then
I was blessed when he went when playing with Curtis Martin, and I liked that combination. And then I loved Tom's story when, obviously Bledsoe went down, and just the whole on how he just took advantage of his opportunity, won countless, Super Bowls, and I just fell in love with that story and just became really a Brady fan along with Randy Moss. And then Mossy went to the Patriots while we was all in Boston. It was like dream world for me. So yeah, I became a Patriots fan kind of in a weird way, I guess.
Did you ever try your hand at football? Did you ever try playing it?
Yeah. I like to you know how every athlete thinks he's a decent quarterback or a decent wide receiver because we're athletic. I could catch the ball. I was a receiver. My uncles were super duper football fans. So in the neighborhood, I had to go up against the bullies and the big guys and get hit. And we had no pads or none of that back in the day. It's back when you played in the street. Y'all play street football. Mm-hmm. And if you're on grass, then you can be hit. So yeah, that's how I came up.
Kevin Garnett,
like South Carolina.
Kevin Garnett here on the Rich Eisen show. So what did you think of the ovation that Pierce got in Boston last night? You see that?
Well deserved, man. Anytime Paul hits the New England area, people are going to clap and give him appreciation. So I just felt like it was well deserved. That's classic P.
So what about you? What's your reaction when you walk around Boston, Kevin?
I haven't been in Boston in a while. I've been back a couple of times, obviously, for some business, but not like how, obviously, to go back and enjoy some games. Paul and I was talking about, when we get some free time, going up, seeing the game. Obviously, he's working, and he's been able to take advantage of both. But I haven't been back in the area. You got to understand, Paul's whole career, a majority of his career was in Boston. So he's been through thick and thin with that city. Listen, I was appreciative of having the opportunity to play for a great franchise with great management, leaders, people who would actually listen to players and actually want to learn something. It was a great experience for me, man. Boston was end of the rainbow for me. But I would never expect a type of innovation like Pete Pierce just because of his duration and what he's been through that city. So, but Boston is one of my spots, man.
Well, one of my favorite segments that you've done in your Area 21, Kevin, is when you got a whole bunch of the Celtics back together from back in the day and had a very real conversation. And part of what I get to do for a living that I'm very fortunate about is I've got Marshall Faulk and Deion Sanders and Michael Irvin next to me, and Sapp spent some time. And just hearing how Hall of Fame athletes or competitive guys talk about their times together and how sometimes they don't end the way that you hope they would end. And that conversation you had about, the Celtics and your days, and obviously Ray Allen was so real. What was your reaction to the reaction of all that, Kevin?
Well, one of the things I want everybody to understand is that I get it. As a fan of the game, I get to sit back now and be non-biased. I get to have my favorite players. I root for my favorite players, blah, 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 right? So from a fan's perspective, if, you look at it one way, you want it to be all cohesive. I wanted everybody to understand that was this situation that we were here talking about was a real one for all of us. And we had different views on it. Obviously we was giving everybody an eye in the room when we have conversation. We just so happily do it on air. and it was one that we all know to be. All parties involved know the current on how everybody and each individual feels, and we just wanted to share with the world. It wasn't, people these days don't know what to believe, so you damn near have to put everything in that kind of format to be able to talk just like that in that format for it to be labeled as real as it can be. And I thought it was just as far as educating everybody on the situation, letting everybody know that, we don't have any negative feelings towards Ray or none of that, just the process, and we never actually really talked about it out loud. So, I thought it was eventful. I thought it gave the show some substance that, this is what we talk about on here. We are real on here. We're not I would never promote anything fabricated, nor am I. My DNA or my makeup is made of none of that, and none of my friends are like that. So, I thought it was an eventful show. Obviously, it gave a great topic, and it gave, at the end of the day, it gave insight, which is what we were going for anyway.
So would you invite Ray into Area 21? Would you do that?
At some point, I was trying to put together a best, what was I calling it? I was calling it a shooter's night because I love shooting. I'm infatuated with skill set. I'm infatuated with formation, arm up, hand. I'm infatuated with that. So to hear superstars or hear greats talk about what made them great is one of my totally favorite things to talk about. So one of the things I wanted to do was do Shooters Night, where I was going to bring in some WNBA players along with some NBA players and just talk about shooting and the different insights from one's viewpoint, from release to how they catching it, rhythm, just all of it, just to hear the different contexts. And I just think it'd probably be a better show for Ray and I to be one-on-one versus put him in that. But I would love to have him on the show. I know he has things that he's doing that he would love to promote. But at this time, I haven't reached out to him and even considered that. But it would be probably one of the more eventful ones. I'm not sure if he's open to even coming on the show, so I haven't even explored that, to be honest with you. Great question.
Kevin Garnett here on the Rich Eisen Show. So speaking of shooting styles, Lonzo Balls appears to be of note right now. What do you make of his shooting style and how that can be fixed at all for him moving forward in his career that has a ton of promise to it?
Well, people have to understand that shooting style got him all the way to this point in which we know him to be. So it's obviously worked for him in some ways. If you watched him in high school, he shot the ball a lot further, a lot deeper. He had a lot more confidence. He was supreme when it comes to that. And that shot form didn't have any flaws in it at that time. It was just awkward for most because people have never, or if not, seen that particular shot be shot like that. Shots are different in their ways. At the end of the day, it's about results and putting the ball in the basket. If I could sit down with Alonzo Ball and talk to him, one of the things I would talk to him about was in the summertime, I would advise him to get with a Chauncey Billups or a Sam Cassell, someone that really, really knows the point guard position, and to really pick the brain of a legend point guard or someone that was very, very successful at that position. One of the things I don't like in our industry is how we have parents and trainers speak and give advice to these kids that have never, ever experienced professional sports. I get it. You have a structure, you have background, they have a commonplace. Kids have some places where they're comfortable, and their parents create all that. But at the end of the day, to be better in your sport, to be better at your craft, you have to work, you have to practice, you have to be able to get these jewels from these OGs, from these legends. They will pass them down. They will pass the jewels down, but you have to speak up and actually go and be an initiative and actually search them out. And they'll work with you. I would love to see Alonzo Ball work with Chauncey Billups for a summer. You would definitely see a difference in attitude, mentality, and you would definitely see a difference in skill set because the kid can play. He just got to get stronger, and he's going through what every other rookie's going through. He's going through his rookie woes only to make him better in the second year.
Kevin Garnett. That's great. I mean, very well done. I mean, well said. I mean, Kevin Garnett here on the Rich Eisen Show, because it's just fascinating. There seems to be so much great young talent that's coming in to the league after being a one-and-done person in the league, and I know, obviously, the way you came in to the NBA years ago, do you think we should go back to just letting kids come in from high school and just seeing what they can do right from Jump Street? Or what's your take on this situation?
Well, first
right now,
off,
KG?
That's not going to happen because in a weird conspiracy way, I would never think that the league and college wouldn't have a back door or a back room conversation about that, because it hurts the college game, because college coaches already got to get off their ass and go recruit. It makes it even more harder to get a kid when he's up against the NBA as an option. You understand? So if we're talking about corporation and making money, then that rule is out. Plus, the kid gets to mature a little bit, which is never a bad thing. Once you get to the league, it's all new anyways. What you learn in college and what you did in college as it results to the league is totally different. How you operate, your time, the business of your professionalism. When you're in college, you can be scoped for something. The coach can talk to you as if he's your father or your uncle or a male influence. In the league, this is your job. You don't do your job, someone takes over your job. You have guarantees in this. In college, I don't know if you have guarantees. I know you have to go to class and other things. So with that, I don't think that notion will ever come into play. I say all that to say that we need to have a system to where we can actually teach and these young boys can actually reach from. The kids have no OG system. They have no real veteran leadership. The veterans in our league now are D. Wade. The veterans in our league are LeBron James. You know, it's not a lot of veteran leadership. I want to be able to have a mentorship or something to where these young guys can pick from and be better. Now you don't really necessarily worry about kids coming in real early or super young because they have a system. I think in the end of the day, maturity is never a bad thing, but, you know, we live in the U.S. of A. We have opportunity. We should be able to take advantage of that opportunity as soon as we get it. You look at Noel's situation. He went to college, and I think he messed his ACL up in a practice game or something very early. Didn't even really get to show what he wanted to do in Kentucky. He had a chance to, you know, obviously get some insurance. We know his story. He gets to Philly, blah, blah, blah. The story is what it is. Imagine if he had the option to come to the league, be under that insurance early, and, you know, obviously he learned something going through that. I'm going through both back and forth, but at the end of the day, it's pluses in both. But when it comes down to dollars and cents, I don't really see in that because of how it hurts the college game.
KG, I could speak to you all day. I seriously, I mean, you have so much to share from your experiences, and I'm glad you decided to do the media.
I got it. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I got to give it to Tara and Turner. Shout out to T. You know what I'm saying? Lady Shadell, she know what it is. Turner really, 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 and this is no smack on Fox or ESPN. Shout to them, you know, because I'm a fan of, you know, the shows, and T. Pierce and Chance and Jalen. They do a great job at that. Stephen A. So I'm a fan of the shows. But Turner gives me a comfort that I can't really explain. It's almost like being in a locker room, being who you are, but being, you know, obviously you got a camera on you, but it's so comfortable to just be yourself in that form. And that's the only reason I really considered it. I don't know if I could be able to be in the same form if it wasn't for this comfortability of you know, just being able to speak freely and say what's on your mind and not have to feel like, oh, man, they're going to say something to me if I say it like this. You know, they want you to be yourself. That's why they hire you. So I like that. It's more Turner than anything. So shout to Turner for that. Yo.
Yeah, and they gave you your own area as opposed to just, let's just put a suit and tie on him and put him on the end of the set and have him, you know, speak to camera and give some analysis. They give you your own area, and you're doing great with it. I mean, the Snoop Candace Parker segment. I mean, all the stuff that you're doing with it, and you know. And the last thing I just wanted to tell you too, because I don't recall the last time I spoke to you other than, you know, the brief moment a couple of weeks ago. You know, when I was doing SportsCenter and I was doing it with Stewart every night, I mean, you were his favorite. You were one of his. Well, obviously Jordan was because he was a big, you know, Carolina guy. Right, but right, yeah. I mean, just him, you know, watching you doing your highlights for all those years, he always had, you know, he sat up in his chair whenever he's doing your highlights. And I think if he saw you doing your Area 21 right now, he'd want to call up ESPN and say, "Can I be a guest on it?" he'd want in, Kevin. So. I just wanted to pass that along to you.
Man, I appreciate that, man. That's the word. I mean, Stuart was a big influence to all of us, and I was no different from that. I thought he innovated. He totally innovated commentary and to where we can all speak freely or put some swag on it, as we say, right?
Yo, yeah.
He was the originator of that. So, shout out to Stuart, man. He's family. That's a compliment. That's the ultimate compliment there.
Huh? No, that's why I wanted to pass it along to you. Kevin, I hope this is the first of many times that we get to chat on this show. Really appreciate it.
Look, man, it's you let me know, man. I know you're doing it big, man. I'm a huge fan. Always have been. Always will be. You let me know when you want to do this again, and we do it. That's simple. Feel me?
Excellent, KG. I look forward to it. Thanks again. Thanks for saying what you said. At KG Area 21 is the show account on Twitter.
For more Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Rich Eisen Show app.